The mess, the noise, and the inevitable fights. Share housing is not a new concept. In fact, it almost goes hand in hand with the process of growing up. But away from agreeing to do the dishes and the laundry, do you know your legal rights and what do you do when it goes wrong? Share housing rose by 15% in the last census, with 39% of it owed to students. Student Andrew Rhodes found a flatmate through the website Flatmate Finders.
And what you do, you sort of put in your interests and your compatibility, and it comes back with a list of people who they think would be compatible with you. So I found this guy on Flatmate Finders, and he seemed alright. We met up about a week before we moved in, and everything checked out. He was a social worker that worked with young children.
Despite a positive start, things quickly went wrong for Andrew and his housemate.
And he became quite aggressive towards me in saying that I was a bad person, that I'd sabotaged his things, that I was using him the whole time.
He found it was imperative to know your rights.
He had actually never signed any legal documentation with me. He was there at my discretion.
In this case, due to the legal agreements, Andrew was able to get rid of his housemate easily and efficiently. While a benefit for Andrew, it's important that both sides know their legal rights when it comes to this situation. Hayley Stone from the Eastern Area Tenants Service says you must be prepared for share housing.
If you are moving for the first time, you really need to be prepared and you need to understand what your rights are and what your responsibilities are. I would definitely recommend that if you are moving anywhere that you sign an agreement of some type, and that if you pay any amount of money that you get a receipt for that.
When legally binding, a share housing agreement can be very serious.
If you are in a fixed term lease, it really is a formal, legally binding agreement, and it's taken very seriously if you want to get out of it. If you're in a periodic agreement, it's much easier because you can just simply give 21 days notice and vacate. So yeah, I guess in a nutshell, I would say that a fixed term, it's very hard to get out of. Periodic agreement, it's much easier to...
As Stone says, there are other options than terminating the agreement.
Talk to whoever you're having the conflict with, or try to communicate with them in some way. The reason why I say that is because it's often quite difficult to get out of a share house, particularly without kind of incurring some form of penalty. So it's always better if you can sort of sort it out and try to come to some sort of amicable agreement where everyone is able to stay in the tenancy.
For Andrew, however, he's not sure about share housing with strangers.
So I'd be very hesitant to move in with people I didn't know or didn't have friends verify who they were again.
Despite the mess and occasional problems, Stone says it can work.
Depends. I think house sharing can work so long as it's very clear what is expected of all of the parties, and sort of, what the ground rules are for living in the property. So, I would definitely suggest that, if you are planning to enter into a share housing agreement and enter into a share house, that, you talk about all of the different aspects of that.
Sam Murphy, Flying the Coop.